Welcome back to the SCIF. I am Matt, that is Stu, and you see a third face as part of the crew tonight. That's Troy's lab. You guys all know him. We're going to talk about some gun stuff tonight. Do a little bit of change. We're going to do some current events, and then we're going to hook into some gun stuff. And we brought in our local expert, Troy, and we're going to be talking about some of that. What do we have on the docket as far as current events, Stu?
There's Troy and I were talking before the show, and it's difficult. We can normally get through between 4 and 6 stories in the hour, and it is just it's hard to pick and choose because there's so much going on. But we kind of try and group things together. We have a couple of stories to do with ICE and the phenomenal work they're doing, as well as the obstacles they're encountering, both by local government leadership, as well as lunatics just that are out roaming the streets with you and I and everyone else. The Epstein has come back into the forefront again, and I'm having a real hard time trying to understand what's going on with this, because, and I think it's because it colors people on both sides, because the Democrats didn't want to release it. The Republicans don't want to release it. Now they do, but they don't. It's so convoluted, and there's so much going on.
I think I have an explanation for it, but we'll talk about that when we hit it.
We'll get there, but that's coming out. There's been some stuff. One of Matt's favorite people in the world, I think he might even, maybe Matt's godfather or something. Jamie Raskin, is he?
That ain't,
no, oh, okay.
I think he's
misunderstood.
I thought he was related to you. Actually,
no, I don't have any kinfolks that far north. He's gotten himself wound up in some of this deal with releasing basically emails from Ghislaine Maxwell to the public. You know, he's involved in that. Just again, anything they can do to try and paint Trump with that brush.
Yeah, they're failing with that since they've released everything. And well, now the Senate and the House have agreed to release everything, and now you're already seeing Larry Summers is all wrapped up in this. Stacey Plaskett, who was being text questions by Epstein, going after Cohen on unreal.
She's basically she's basically the non-voting member from the Virgin Islands. Epstein was texting her during questioning. Was it Comey they were questioning?
No, Cohen. Remember
Cohen.
Trump's former attorney that he had doing like small jobs for him on the side because he felt bad for him. Yeah.
So this non-voting member of Congress is texting with Jeffrey Epstein during the questioning of Cohen, with him telling her what questions to ask.
Who happens to represent where Epstein Island was.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the Democrats for you, though. I mean, what can you say? The scorpion's going to sting the frog because that's what scorpions do.
Exactly. Right.
Let's see, what else have we got here? The CDL, the huge thing in the past few months where there's been, and what really brought the attention to it were the accidents that caused the lives of, I believe it was at least 6 people. There's a whole lot more going on with that. There was a whole scheme in New York where someone was coming in and taking the CDL test for other people. Her sister worked at the DMV and was in on it. One of the managers were in on it, and they would basically split the money of these people, paying them to take the test for them.
And it's all these shitbag states, California, Washington, now New York. These people obviously don't give a rat's ass about any man, woman, child, dog, anything in this country, allowing people to come in and basically roll down our highways and byways in 65,000 pound bombs, basically, you know?
Yeah. And one of the last stories, if we don't get to it, I'll just read the title here. Chicago public schools spent millions in COVID cash on resort spas, luxury hotels, and overseas destination, an inspector general report.
Are you surprised?
I am not in the least.
You know, to start off, and we're going to get into some gun stuff too. Troy, you want to talk about what we're going to talk about in the gun stuff real quick?
I was just going to throw some questions at you guys, just a
All
topic, and just let it go.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can do that. What before we get started, then, what I wanna touch base on is what's going on in Mexico, because nobody's really covering it. So
Yes.
for people that aren't sure of what I'm talking about, in Mexico City, a mayor was gunned down by the drug cartels, I guess while he had his kid in his hand, right? His hands, right? And uh hundreds of thousands of people rushed into the streets in Mexico City. And here's what they're pleading. They're pleading for Donald Trump to come in and deal with the cartels, right? Now, a week ago, Trump was asked, are you going to go in and destroy the cartels? And Trump says, Mexico's a sovereign country. You know, I'm not just going to run right into a sovereign country. But now he was asked again, I believe today, and said, if the people want me to, you know, I'm about destroying the drug cartels. So this is part of a bigger picture because we've seen what's been going on in Venezuela
Yep.
and what we've been doing to the boats there. But there's something else. Milei down in Argentina was just reelected to a massive win, right? And in Chile, you have the conservative in Chile is now leading, running away with this. And Trump is putting a coalition because we've got Bukele down there too, right? In El Salvador, right? So is he in El Salvador or is he Ecuador? Bukele.
Dude, you're the one with those names. I'm going to go with whatever you say, and I'll back you up the whole way.
So anyways, um, in Argentina, there was a apparently on Facebook Live the execution of 3 young girls by the cartels, right? Brutal execution, which has just set the public on fire. This happened about a month ago, right? And this latest assassination in Mexico City has ignited the people. Now, Scheinbaum, you know, the prime minister of Mexico. I don't know if she's prime minister or president down there. Doesn't matter. She runs Mexico. Her approval ratings are high. And it was like, well, wait a second. Well, she's basically been agreeable to working with Trump on going after these cartels. So now I think things are going to start really ramping up because these cartels control so much. And it's not just that they control something in Mexico, they control the whole, in our little section of the world, the whole southern hemisphere, right?
Yeah,
Up into the United
they
States.
control entire governments in South America.
Correct. So I think that Trump has slowly been putting together a consortium of solid people, and I think in the next couple months you're going to see something ramp up, and I have a feeling that we're going to go after the cartels. Just a feeling, and especially after Trump's response when they asked him again, because they asked him, are you going to start launching attacks and bombing cartels? And he says, sounds good to me if the people want me to come in. Right? So basically, I think he has played this. I think he has and I think this is going to be a recurring theme when we start to see what's going on with the Epstein files, right? All of a sudden he gets everybody clamoring for him, you know, exposing themselves, and then he's like 180 degrees in one day. Boom, release them all. It's passed through the House, it's passed through the Senate. You're going to start seeing everything. And already Democrats are going down. Larry Summers is the first.
Well, it's funny
more.
because you have, of course, the useful idiots that are like, well, the only reason Trump's going to release this because he's redacted or deleted anything that was incriminating to him. And it's like, do you really think that Biden or Kamala would have sat on anything like that would have completely
Correct.
nuked Trump's campaign.
Well,
No, they would have
on top
released
of
that
that,
shit in a heartbeat.
the only thing that was manipulated was the cherry-picked document where they redacted the name of Virginia Guffrey, right?
Yeah.
And they put victim in there. They did that. The
Yeah.
Democrats in Congress did that. And then, you had Jasmine Crockett lying about it on public TV, and then she got caught, right? And it's like they're back to stepping on rakes again. They're back
Yep.
to stepping on rakes again. And I think Trump is so far ahead of these people in so many ways. I get so frustrated with people on our side. Marjorie Taylor Greene she's ruined her career. She's ruined her career. Going on The View, going on CNN and bashing Trump. Are you kidding me? This is what she did.
It amazes me. And again, I guess it's one of the strengths of the Republican Party, but they also don't know when to rein it in. The Democrats vote as a block. They're lemmings. They do what they're told, when they're told, how they're told, and why they're told. Republicans are like, no, you need to convince me. You need to bring the receipts. You need to show me. You need to explain it. You need to whiteboard it, whatever. But at the same time, they're also the perfect being the enemy of the good. It's like, well, this isn't 115% what I want, how I want it, so I'm going to fight it. It's like, no, you take the 80% win, and then you fight for the other 20% later. But some people can't get out of their own damn way. And it's so supremely frustrating. And again, don't get me wrong, Trump isn't above that either. He sometimes says shit that is no, just back up, take the 80% and then go. But
here's the deal with as far as and Troy, I want to hear your input on this too. As far as Marjorie Taylor Greene is concerned, it's like you either trust Trump. If you look at Trump's track record, does Trump win or does he lose? He wins, right? He gets his way usually. So you look at somebody like a Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's supposed to be close to Trump, although you start seeing some rumblings with her bitching and moaning about ICE removing illegal aliens, which is what we all voted for, right? And it turns out she has a construction company or something along these lines. And so now it's her personal interests. So she's willing to forego the interests of the country because she gets cheap labor, right? The whole problem with the Republican Party, anyways, and being bought off by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But what's your take on this, and especially how some of these Republicans, Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a handful of other ones are so eager to go out there and oppose Trump instead of giving him the benefit of the doubt, understanding that he might have something brewing in the background.
Well, Taylor Greene is saying that Trump is not focused enough on America First issues. It's like, come on. That guy lives for doing stuff for America.
Correct.
What's he doing? What's he doing for somebody else?
Yeah.
He's doing it all for America.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because you saw that more established during this Democrat shutdown, where Trump pivoted and came out with that 5-point plan that was all domestic issues. Boom, 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 boom. Now, not everybody likes it. Like what Stu said a moment ago, sometimes good is the enemy of great, right? Or great is the enemy of good, right? And you're looking at one of them, I know that's taken some criticism, is that 50-year mortgage. But I just found out the other day that the average home in the United States now is up to around $400,000. Who the hell can afford that? So you're going to need to be able to push it out. What were you going to say,
not
Stu?
even that, Matt. Who can afford the 20% down on the
interest?
Yeah.
So he's trying to come up with some sort of solution, but you see everybody pile on. A house is not a car. So stretching out a car payment is stupid, but a home is going to increase in value. So if you can't afford it, but you can stretch it out, not to mention what we always fail to understand is we brought close to 40 million people in this country, and we're providing housing for them. What do you think that does to the housing markets? What do you think it does to everything? The whole economy puts pressure on it, especially as we pay for everything for them.
It's a crowded market, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We're feeling it all the way up here. It's the farther south you go, the tighter it's starting to get, especially down in Florida. Let's pivot. What's the next subject, Stu?
Well, no, one thing Troy said was talking about the shit. I had the thought and I lost it and I thought I had it again.
I do that all the time. I do that all the time.
I know. We've got another 45 minutes for me to figure out what I wanted to say.
Right.
But no, he was talking about, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump being, I know what it was, and Trump being able, he's not focused on America first things. That takes me right back to when these Democrats were losing their ever-loving mind about this ballroom on the East Wing. They're like, oh, Trump says this is his priority. This should be his priority. It's like, you can have more than one. There's a whole, list of priorities. This is my first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Just because it is a priority doesn't mean it's the priority.
Correct.
And I'm sorry, as a president, by definition, you have to multitask. You have to rack and stack. You have to, put out the fires that are chapping your ass before you go after the ones that aren't. It's the thing of, he can have more than one iron in the fire at the same time.
Oh, he does.
All presidents have to be able to do that.
Irons in the fire at any moment. He's got control of everything, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's domestic policy. That whole thing was funny too, because they were bitching about the defacing a piece of history, where Obama did the same thing, but the difference was public taxpayer money didn't pay for this. Trump raised private cash to update the White House.
Well, I love too how they were talking about it was a piece of history, and Hillary Clinton and Biden were both alive when the East Wing was remodeled the last time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how historic it is.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a real good point.
Yeah, go ahead, Troy. You had something?
Everything Trump does, he wins.
Yes.
So if Trump built a NASCAR track around the White House, it would be the greatest event in NASCAR history. And then the next president can come along and tear it down.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna see that when they hold that UFC event on 4th of July outside the White House, that the left is going nuts over. That's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Well, the thing they were talking about, Matt, is they've got foreign dignitaries that come in and they have these events and they're in tents outside the White House.
Yeah.
And if it rains or whatever, then they're walking around in mud and muck and whatever. It's like, why wouldn't you have something? And I mean, even if it wasn't, on the White House grounds, why wouldn't you have some facility that was geared towards that purpose? I mean, it's the pushback on it is simply because it's Trump. If it were Biden, if it were Obama, if it were Clinton, if it were any other president, it'd be like, oh, look at this great thing that he's doing. It's going to allow us to do more on the world stage. It's going to do this, but it's Trump, and it's, freaking toddlers losing their pacifier and pitching a fit. It's all it is.
That's exactly what it is.
It is that simple. They hate anything Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Anything Trump has to do with, you have to hate it.
Yeah.
Well, we've said before, Troy, Trump could cure cancer, and the headline would be, Trump accelerates global warming due to overpopulation. I mean, that would be it.
Trump destroys medical industry profits.
Yeah, well, Trump crashes the pharmaceutical industry and accelerates global warming. Yeah, it would. Matt, you sent me one about the subpoenas of J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, for Epstein financial records. You want to take that?
Yeah, Congressman Comer is basically now subpoena. He's put subpoenas out to J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and several others that dealt business with Jeffrey Epstein. And now they're going to start picking this apart. Now, we all know that the agencies that were probably behind this are going to have their tracks covered, but this will probably start to point in specific directions. Okay, and it's not going to point to who was behind it and who was funding this and all of that. It's not going to do that. But where it does point to may, using blue collar logic, right, start to paint a picture of what was going on as all of these trails run cold, right? So I think that's what they're slowly starting to do, is starting to put these pieces together. There's a lot of other speculation out there, and we've talked about this on this show. I don't know if Jeffrey Epstein is dead or alive. I mean, there's a lot of mystery around that whole deal. Um, wouldn't it be something if they had him on ice somewhere alive, you know, and let this whole thing blow up and then trot him out and make him testify again? The judges are all stopping the grand jury testimony. Why? The Democrats wanted everything released, right? And yet their appointed judges are stopping the DOJ from accessing the grand jury testimony in the Epstein cases. So it's real interesting. And now you're seeing the other connections, like we talked about Stacey Plaskett, we talked about Larry Summers, we talked about more that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. That journalist Wolf, the guy who wrote that book about Trump's first term, right? And him sitting down having brainstorming sessions, how they could spread disinformation to take down Trump, right? That came out in those emails that they didn't want released, not one of the cherry picked ones where they could redact specific names and try to make it look like something else was going on. So I think we're just starting to see just the tip of the iceberg on this. And now with the House and the Senate today uh, uh, calling for the DOJ to release the Epstein files, I think this is going to be a long ride. Now, we had mentioned before, Stu, you were in your brain, you were saying this doesn't make sense. And I think the majority of the country, none of it makes sense. And to be honest, it doesn't make sense to me either, with the exception that we have important things that we need to deal with yet in order to move this country forward. And the Epstein files being released are going to suck all the air out of everything, out of
Yeah.
absolutely everything. And we need to get things done for the American people, for this country, to get this economy really thumping and to bypass all of these left wing appointed judges that are trying to stall until the midterms. And we need to get things done. We need to clean up the voter rolls. We need to get the SAFE Act passed. We need to get all of these things done so that we can have somewhat fair elections and all of this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you look at, we still got the deep state in Europe trying to push the war with Ukraine and Russia farther than it has been. That hasn't been settled completely yet. You still
Yeah.
got the Middle East a mess and everything else, even though we have maintained a better situation than what we had. And then we've got the economy that needs to start thumping, and we need to start releasing oil, which we've got all of this stuff in our way. The Epstein files, and this is why I think he didn't want it out now, right? I think he eventually wanted it out, but we need to fix this country, and we need to get the rest of these illegals out of this damn country. And all we're going to hear about from here on to the midterms is Epstein, 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 Epstein. And I think that's the reason he didn't want this released right now. And when he said, okay, release everything then. Let's just get it done and see if we can move on about our business. But that's going to be very, very difficult with this sucking all the oxygen out of the room.
And I think it's hindsight being 2020, as it always is.
Mm-hmm.
This Epstein thing came up, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, it was a big thing, and then it went away.
Yeah.
And you think, knowing, if you knew then what you know now, would it have been better for Trump to say, okay, let's release this, get it out of the way, let it run its course. It'll last 2 weeks, 3 weeks in the media, whatever, and then it's going to be gone, and then we can just focus. I mean, I really think.
I think you're right. I think he probably should have, but it wouldn't have been 2 or 3 weeks in the media, dude. Shit is going to keep coming out on this stuff over and over.
My thing is, I think it was a misstep for them to make as big of a deal of it as they did, with Pam Bondi coming out, with having journalists show up at the White House and give them binders of phase one, and making it an event, and then it fizzling. It's like, if you're going to make it a spectacle of it, make it and then move on.
Well, here's some more food for thought on this. Right now, because we just mentioned this a second ago, the judiciary is still screwed up, right?
Oh, God, yes.
Now, if we do have arrests, you can see what's going on with Comey right now. If we have arrests, they're getting ready to let Comey go, right?
Yeah.
That's what's going down. So we're going to get these people in front of these crooked judges, and they're going to walk because the Senate hasn't done their job and impeached several of these judges, right? And they're going to keep Boasberg's back in the news for pulling more shit, right?
Turd in the punch bowl.
Yeah. So Troy, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I was just, you got it, man.
All right. So these are some of the things that I think that we're all taking part of that. When you look at it, like you said, hindsight's 2020. Yes, it looks like it was not handled the best way. Okay, it was not handled the best way, but then it's a shit sandwich no matter which way you look at it. And I don't think he was going to be able to delay it when maybe he thought he might have been able to. And
it's one of those that I don't think there was the perfect opportunity to release it, because whenever it came out, it was, like you said, the phrase you used, it was going to suck the air out of the room for anything else, which is exactly what it was going to do whenever it came out. So whatever Trump's priority was 3 months ago, that was his thought process, I'm sure, is that's not my priority. I know if this comes out, it's going to absolutely derail everything I'm trying to do. So I want to put it on the back burner. But I just, we discussed it at the time. And I think if that was the mindset, then they should have come out and said, it's being reviewed, it's being investigated, we're going to release it as soon as we have everything, instead of kind of teasing it out like they did for it to be nothing. I just think that was a misstep. But there's tons and tons of other stuff. One of the big things, and we talked about it before, was these illegals coming in and getting these CDL licenses. And you had a CDL, didn't you, Matt, or no?
No, I never had one.
But the process of getting a CDL is pretty strenuous. I mean, you have to pass tests, you have to pass practicals. You're held to a higher standard when it comes to blood alcohol content. There's a whole lot that goes into it. And we've got the story we were talking about before out of New York. You've got basically this woman that comes in disguises. This is like some freaking Mr. Magoo bullshit here. Comes in disguises to take tests for people. And her sister is a manager at the DMV that she goes into. Another DMV employee is a partner in it. And how many was it? There was, if convicted, they face 2.5 to 7 years in prison. One of the things down here, came in to obtain or according to the investigation and surveillance video, on 6 separate dates between March 2023 and September 2023, Jamie Middleton approached DMV employees dressed in various disguises and purported to be different CDL and Class D permit applicants seeking to take the exams.
What does she have? One of those Charlie Chaplin glasses and noses on, or what?
Damn near it. Let's see. Right here, on May 23rd, this person allegedly took exams for 2 applicants less than 5 minutes apart and wearing the exact same clothing. So she went in and sat down under one person's name, took the test, went up, handed the teacher the test and said, "Can I have the other? Now I'm Jim Bob," and went and sat down and took the freaking test again. And
she probably didn't say Jim Bob. She didn't say Jim Bob. She said Ahmed. I'm now Ahmed.
Ahmed Aloha Snack Bar, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. I need a license. Help me out here.
Me need driver's license.
Hold on, Troy. Oh, I hit the wrong one. Put the hat back on. What have you got there?
I need license.
But yeah, I mean, this is this person showing up in disguise to take these tests. And in addition to this, we've got an even better one. Just, I don't know, CDL is the name of the game this week.
Mm-hmm.
We've got ICE arrest an illegal alien on terrorism charges that Biden led into the country. According to ICE,
is this the
Buzarov is wanted is wanted in Uzbekistan, where authorities issued a warrant for his arrest in 2022 for allegedly belonging to a terrorist organization. All right. Let's see. The terrorist suspect was granted work authorization by the Biden admin in 2024, despite his outstanding terrorism warrant. Not only was he a wanted terrorist released in the country by the Biden admin, he was also given a commercial driver's license by Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Border Patrol initially arrested him upon entry, but under Biden-era policies, or again, according to ICE, he illegally crossed in 2023. Okay? The warrant was issued in 2022. So a year after a warrant was issued for his arrest for terrorism, he came into the U.S., Border Patrol arrested him, but under Biden policies, he was released into American communities. There was none of this. It happened after the fact. We didn't know. We were confused. The sun was in my eyes, coach. No. Mm-hmm. A year after the warrant was issued, he comes into the country illegally, is arrested. And Biden's like, nah, he's good. He's family. I know him.
Hey, Stu, do we have any comments we need to get to?
Well, since Troy's on the show, Freedom's in the chat. Freedom said today the Mexican president, quote unquote, ruled against Trump coming in. And I replied, I said, of course, otherwise it would be admitting they were worthless as a president and had no control of their own country.
No, otherwise she may not be with us tomorrow.
Well, there's that too.
Yes, that's why. I think she knows the writing on the walls, and she may be saying that publicly. And but I think when you have 100,000 people plus take to the streets in Mexico City pleading for Trump to come in and deal with the cartels, you got a problem, and you better get on the right side of history. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's one of those things, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Dan and Cindy just popped in. C-Stone 27.
Good to see Dan and Cindy back.
Thank you, guys. It's been a minute, unless you've been incognito, been lurking in the shadows.
In stealth mode. Well, I'm glad to have Dan and Cindy back.
They've been down to the DMV getting licenses.
That's exactly right.
But yeah,
Oh,
so
shit.
it's amazing. There's more and more coming out of these CDL licensing schemes and these people running these scams. And I thought I saw in this one where they were splitting money. It was between $1,500 and $3,000 per test that she was taking that was being split up. So basically, they were taking bribes to, go around the organized. There was something. It might not have been this one.
To basically put Americans' lives at risk. That's
Yes.
what they were doing.
And we all know what the outcome is going to be. It's going to be convicted or arrested, $1,000 bail. You post 10% of it back on the street.
Yeah, we hope that's not the case, because some of this is dipping into federal. When you cross state lines and stuff like that, it's starting to dip into federal. If it's federal, unless it gets in front of one of these Obama or Clinton
Unless
judges.
it gets in front of Boasberg.
Yeah.
Which is exactly who it's going to go in front of.
Yeah.
This dude must have a catcher's mitt the size of fucking Texas, because he catches everything with Trump's name on it, doesn't he? It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Going straight.
So, are we ready to talk some gun stuff?
We can.
Yeah, absolutely. Break it down for us.
All right. Troy, what do you want to talk about?
All right. My whole thing was like, right now is the greatest time to be alive as a gun owner in America. As far as you can go anywhere. The guns that we have today are the greatest guns. The variety, the availability, ammo,
quality,
all of that. And because we're all the same age, I'm sure you guys remember going into a gun store early on in your lives, and the 3 guns that were available in the counter in the handgun department were some form of a Smith & Wesson Snubby, some form of a mil-spec 1911, and probably a 44 Magnum Ruger Red Hawk. So there was your choices. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. Well, then you had the Remington 870 Wingmaster, right? And maybe a Mossberg 500.
The 7 cents around 9mm again. That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
No, that wouldn't, for sure. For sure. So,
yeah, like now it's
well. So I got a question for you, Troy.
Yeah.
Break down this whole. Here's how I understand the whole deal with the Glock V, right?
Yes.
So the way I look at it is certain states were starting to put pressure on Glock, basically because of these switches that are coming in via basically China. Yeah. And where you could basically remove the end plate on a slide, put one of these switches on there, and the way it interacted with the internals of a Glock allowed these things to basically be fully automatic, and they were dubbed the switch, right?
Yeah.
So basically, like all communists and do, they decided to go after Glock and say it's a design flaw with their gun. They should have somehow anticipated that. And instead of Glock saying piss off, Glock bent the knee and said, okay, we'll change the design of our gun. Now, where this causes the problem is all of the patents on the Gen 3s that have led to a bunch of Glock clones that have become super popular, whether it be Shadow Systems, whether it be Zev, whether it be PSA, and many, many others that are out there. This is now in the new Ruger RXM, right? And this is now putting all of them in the spotlight from these communist states, right? And it would have never happened had Glock decided to fight this fight with everybody else and not bend the knee. Am I wrong on something here, or was that assessment fairly close?
Fairly close. I mean, the Glock sidestepping around and doing the redesign really left Ruger unprotected and exposed, because now all the focus is going to be on them. And if Ruger folds, they're just going to go after the next one.
Well, Ruger hasn't folded, and Ruger's much bigger of a company. SIG and Ruger are by far the largest gun manufacturers in the world. And it's funny, you know, I'm gonna plug this in here. The 2A community has done their best with something that has never been proven. Third Lab has never been able to replicate the issue over basically a bunch of cops having issues with their gun and basically cheering for the downfall of one of the two largest manufacturers in America, SIG USA. And now they see, you know, Glock just bent the knee to the anti-gunners, and it's exposing Ruger and everybody else. Now everybody's scratching their heads saying we need to start to stand up for these gun companies. It's like you just spent the better part of a year and a half trying to destroy one of the biggest. You know?
Well, not even that. Sorry to interrupt, Troy. You guys have seen the latest that's come out about the SIG going off and killing this Air Force airman, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The guy who shot the guy is now committed suicide, allegedly, right?
Yeah.
And he got two other people to lie.
Yeah. Apparently they were playing fuck games with loaded firearms. Yeah. Had a negligent discharge that killed this guy, killed the one airman that apparently, you know, did nothing wrong place, wrong time. Then he pressures the other two people of, hey, here's what the story's going to be. And it obviously under interrogation, the stories fall apart.
Yeah.
And now the perpetrator, the one whose gun went off, you know, when shit started going sideways, then handled himself.
Yeah, well, you know, allegedly, because it hasn't. He was found dead. It's alleged that that's what happened, but that also makes you wonder how bad. We already know. It's just another illustration of how bad the Biden administration destroyed the military in those 4 years. It is unreal. So
the big thing is too, Matt. I mean, because you were saying Matt's huge into IDPA and runs it, you know, constantly. And there were, you know, many different gun ranges coming up. In light of recent events, we're no longer allowing SIG P320s on the range. They're dangerous. They're not trustworthy. They you know, shoot people. They climb out of the safe, climb down the stairs, and go into the orphanage and the nunneries and just shoot people.
Yeah,
and
when one of the most popular competition guns of all time is the SIG X5. So why wasn't this happening in mass in competitions? It wasn't. It was happening in police departments, and I can tell you.
That's one of the things we were talking about, Matt. Is you've got guys out there that have these, like you said, one of the most common firearms for these competitive events, and they're running them one modified because they've done trigger work, they've done slide work, they've done spring work, and they're running them at the ragged edge.
Correct.
You know, I mean, with draws from holsters, with presentation, with you know, discharge. I mean, they're running everything tenths of a second is for.
Between 15 and 60,000 rounds a year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's
these
insane.
problems aren't manifesting there.
No,
they're manifesting with you know, Helga at the PD or whatever that is rolling her fat ass around in the floor with somebody and got a fat roll stuck between her and the damn, you know, it's, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And you know,
Glock
Yeah,
has
and
the
we're,
same.
and we're not bashing on cops here because I used to be a cop,
Well, a
but
little
I can
bit.
tell you a
Just those
lot of
cops.
cops. There's some cops that are excellent, right, with their firearm practice because they realize they have the responsibility of carrying a gun every day, and will make sure that they get to the range and shoot. But a vast number of cops will not shoot unless the police department pays for it. And they are absolutely useless with a firearm in their hand. And that's the problem that needs to be addressed. But I think we've gotten off the subject a little bit. Back to Glock v.
I'm sorry.
Troy.
Go ahead, Troy. Sorry to derail you.
Love listening to you guys rant. Didn't Glock have the same problem when police first started carrying them way back in the day?
Correct. Correct.
What was it, Glock leg?
Glock leg. Yeah. Yep. But the internet wasn't around then. That was in the late 80s, early 90s. And the internet wasn't around. And that led to the New York 1, 2, and 3 triggers and all of that. It was all bullshit. Glocks weren't going off by themselves, but
now it's fashionable to bash on SIG. Their new gun comes out immediately. You have to hate it just because it's a SIG.
Yep. Oh yeah.
When you could do it, when I've got a friend watching, and I know he's going to love. Why aren't we bashing like the Keltec PMR 30, the 30 round 22 meg Jam-O-Matic? Where's the hate?
Here's one thing I'll say about Keltec. Some of the stuff that they come out with is next level in their thinking, and some of it is complete fail. Right?
Oh, they are masters of plastic molding.
Yeah.
Nobody is doing better plastic molding than Keltec. Their stuff, it looks awesome.
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff, the RDB is a badass gun. You know what I mean? Some of their stuff is good, but some of it is just. But I at least give them an E for effort because they do think outside the box and try to do new shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's the stuff that sells, especially at their price point.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's looking to buy a $3,500 Staccato or an Athena or
correct
Masterpiece Arms.
Yeah.
Most people don't have $6, $7, $8 laying around to dump on a pistol.
Yeah, I know that even if I had $6, $7, or $8 I wouldn't be dumping it on a pistol. I think you get to a certain point and you start getting diminishing returns.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No.
Once you're past Shadow 2 money, you're really hitting a brick wall of what more you get.
I'll take it a little. I'll say right around $2,000. Okay, that is the most you should ever spend on a freaking pistol, in my opinion.
But like my entire life, the 1911 competition gun has always been a wheelbarrow of money.
Yes. Yeah, because it was changed to meet the needs of competition. And one of the major factors that went into that gun is they had to change the magazines. And those magazines were a freaking nightmare. And now you're starting to see them figure their way around the magazine by simply using better magazines from Glock, SIG, CZ.
But even back when it was single stacks, they were just money pits.
Yeah.
For a competition gun. And now it's just gone off the deep end.
Yeah, well, for sure.
They've taken the best part of the 1911, which is the trigger assembly, and
that's all everybody wants is a crisp trigger.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got my DWX, which Matt has shot, which is, and the trigger I have on my 320 is good, but it's never going to be the trigger that is on that DWX. It can get close, but it's just not. I mean,
you can't replicate.
Physics would like a word.
You can't replicate the design in a 1911 trigger with any type of hinge trigger, even though you can have very, very good hinge triggers. That is something you just can't change.
You got to go full. You got to go full avoidance maneuvers and just don't shoot anybody's gun with a good trigger, and then yours is okay.
You know what? It's funny you say that, Troy. It's funny you say that because at the end of the day, as long as, and this is my opinion, because I've played with triggers and wanted better triggers, as long as you have a decent trigger that you can shoot and not get trigger freeze with, right?
Yeah.
That's a decent trigger. I don't think a trigger is really much of a performance upgrade for a pistol, to be honest with you.
It
I
is if
just,
you don't have the skills.
yeah,
This is, if you don't know how to pull a trigger straight to the rear, which is
yeah.
a whole discussion on itself.
Now,
If,
in a long distance rifle, that's a different ball game. But I'm talking about for
Yeah.
pistol shooting for like USPSA, IDPA. There's plenty of guys out there who run pretty close to stock triggers, and they're some of the best shooters in the world. You know, so
you're seeing a big influx of guys who are going backwards from
mhm,
2011 world back into the striker world
mhm,
because now they have the skills where the trigger pull isn't the limiting factor to how good they shoot.
yeah,
Well, I think a lot of times you have people that they try to replace skill with money.
Oh
mhm,
yeah,
Well,
buy. Yeah,
I can buy this and that'll make me X amount faster, quicker, better.
oh
But
yeah.
once they
You're done. And you rub the catalog on it, and
yeah.
oh yeah, it's good now.
yeah,
It's got to be good. I spent $3,500 in parts.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
exactly.
then you
exactly.
gunsmithed it to an inch of its life, and now it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. When you push a gun so far to maximize a gun, when you maximize a gun, you're going to reach that point where external factors are going to over maximize that thing, and you're going to see that thing shitting its guts all over the damn range, right?
Oh yeah,
Whether it's from
yeah,
magazine issues or trigger
Uh,
issues or anything else.
Matt,
oh
I
yeah.
saw a video the other day and I thought about you. It was this guy at like an IDPA match. He pulls
Mhm.
out, it's like, shooter ready, ready. And the buzzer went off. He pulls his gun, he comes up and he fires, and the fucking magazine shits the bed out the bottom. And I'm like, that would be Matt.
What do you mean that would be me? What are you talking about?
And you can see he just looks at it for a second, then he goes through his process, but his initial look of like, are you kidding me? I mean, you can just see the rounds just it looked like a B-52 over Germany.
A B-52. I'm
Yeah,
trying to figure
here's
out
Matt.
how you thought of me about that. What are you talking about?
I've seen you and I've seen your luck. I know how shit goes for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any. That is
That's
true
true. That's true.
on many things.
But yeah, I meant to try and pull and save that video to bring it up for the show, but I lost it over the week and
A
didn't.
B-52 dropping its payload over Germany.
That was exactly what it looked.
All the pieces of his soul falling out the bottom of his gun.
Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the things you would see with 2011s is the magazine shoots out the bottom and then the springs go out of the damn thing and rounds are jammed halfway in the magazine all over the ground and everything else, you know.
And let's springboard off of that to when you're concealed carrying a gun,
Uh-huh.
to have a spare magazine with you. Because if you have a magazine failure, you are done.
Yeah. Oh, you are done. You know, and here's I'm guilty of this quite a bit because I very rarely have a spare magazine with me. I used to carry them, but I for some reason the last couple years I used to carry them in one of those stealth gear, those elastic deals that go right along your belt, and you just shove it in, and it really
Yeah.
you can't tell that you got a spare magazine there. And I remember I was swinging an axe. That was the only thing that made that thing come out. Swinging an axe, right?
Yeah.
So for some reason I stopped. But you do have a good point. You should have
Yeah.
a spare magazine with
Yeah, 'cause
you when.
nothing will stop an automatic weapon more than a
Yeah,
magazine failure.
yeah,
That's a good point, Troy, because I used to do the same thing. I used to carry a 226 with 2 spare magazines, but now I carry a 365 appendix with only the magazine that's in it.
Yeah, me
And
too.
that's a very good point, and something that I probably need to look at. I don't need to carry 6 magazines on me, because shit gets that bad, I need to be heading the other direction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you're right. Just having something to that, again, your chances of being involved and needing to draw your gun are,
Oh, it's so small.
are minuscule. And on top of that, then having a failure, or it compounds itself. But
Yeah, if the guy's gonna
there's nobody that's ever complained about having too much ammunition in a gunfight. I mean, it's just,
Well, that same thing, we get lazy though too, because we buy defensive ammo, we put it in the gun, we leave it in the gun, we never change it, but
yeah,
sometimes we'll drop the magazine and drop that round and then reload that round back in there. And what happens when you do that over and over and over and over?
it keeps pushing the
Yeah,
round back in. Yeah.
correct.
yeah, yeah.
I normally for me, I try and take at least once a year. I'll take whatever I've got in my magazine that I've been carrying, and I'll dump it at the range and
Hmm.
reload it. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, right, wrong. I mean, hell, I pulled ammo out of freaking toolbox chests that have been out in a garage for 32 years, and it's fired off without a problem.
Hmm.
But I don't want to take that chance if that's what I'm carrying, because I don't give a shit if I miss the deer. There'll be another one there tomorrow. But if there's an issue when I need my handgun, that's a problem.
Well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're also using that extractor to pull that round out every time, and you're putting it right back on top, pulling it out, pulling it right back. You're damaging that round. So,
And the
Yeah.
late great, the late great Paul Harrell talked about that with your super duper special ammo becomes so precious that you didn't want to shoot it because you
Yeah.
spent so much money on it,
Yep.
and then you carry it forever like luggage.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no.
I'm guilty of that. I am totally
Well,
guilty of that.
well,
So,
Troy, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna equate this to something Matt probably doesn't have any parallel with. For those of you that play video games, when you go through and you get the special potion, or you get the special ruby, or you get the special scroll, and you keep it. You don't use it because you might need it at some point. So you go through the entire game, and when you get to the end and you beat the boss at the end, you have a backpack full of shit that you never used, even though it was given to you.
we got
And
Stu
that's the
nerding
exact
out here
same
over
thing with
video
the
games.
ammo. I know. Matt has no clue whatsoever. Matt's exposure to video game is fucking Animal Farm or something on
Pretty much.
his phone. But
Yeah.
and you're absolutely correct, Troy. Is you and granted, self-defense ammo is more expensive,
Mhm.
regular round nose 9mm. But if it's not
But
worth $30 a year,
how much is your life worth? How much is your family worth? It's just how much. It's such a small price to pay.
well,
Yeah.
Matt, you and I rode motorcycles, and you'd have people that would pay. They'd bitch about the prices of helmets. I had a $600 helmet when I rode sport bikes, because that's how much my fucking head is worth to me. You'd have people that would bitch and moan about a $200, HJC, and it's like, no, I'm running my $600, Shoei or Rye or whatever, and it's like, no, there's some things that are worth the price.
Yeah.
Bell
for sure.
Helmets has the greatest ad ever. If you have a $10 head, wear a $10 helmet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Well,
Matt, you've bounced your skull off the ground on a motorcycle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My head's been bounced off the ground many times, unfortunately. So
it happens. It happens.
A bloody nose inside a full face helmet. You're really thankful you had that helmet on.
oh, for sure. For sure.
But But you got to put it on the shelf and retire it and get a
Well,
new
that
one.
helmet goes in the trash. When a helmet hits the ground, it goes in the trash. It's junk.
Yep. Either that or up on the shelf, one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Well,
here I'm going to bring up something. Have either one of you guys, there was a kick-ass ammo company called MagSafe, right? And you can't get it anymore. I think the company went out of business, but what MagSafe was it was different sized pellets in an epoxy, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the Glasser safety slug.
Yeah, but it was better than that because there were bigger pellets that were suspended in there instead of just a bunch of pellets, you know what I mean? Together.
Yeah.
They were suspended in this epoxy. And when this epoxy hit, that shit went like, and
Yeah.
they did these Strasbourg tests, and that was the most effective. I'm not going to get into how they did that, but that was the most effective round for a one-shot stop. Now, provided the person didn't have body armor on, because that completely defeats it, right? But
yeah.
you can't get it anymore, and you can't get those safeties. I don't see those Glasser safety slugs anywhere anymore. You know, it's like we've gone away from frangible ammo, which I think is has a lot of merit to it, because you're not going to be going through wall after wall with that shit either.
Yeah, it's not going to overpenetrate.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, especially if you're in the self-defense and the public.
Yeah.
You want to keep them. You own that bullet until it stops moving.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a surgeon talking about MagSafe and the safety slugs and all of that, and saying that shit, the trauma that shit causes is next to nothing. Right? Yeah, it is complete and definitely caused more trauma that was harder to fix in the emergency room than traditional ammo. And I just don't know why we don't see that stuff anymore.
Well, I wonder if that's not exactly why.
You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah, you may have answered your own question there, Matt.
Yeah.
Not that it's the same thing, but it turns right around to kind of like the Geneva Convention with the types of ammunition and stuff that's allowed to be used.
Oh yeah, now we have states that require full metal jacket where they're forbidden to shoot hollow points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine.
There's kind of a way they get around that, but
yeah, that's not something we're going to discuss here today.
No. But
did you want to bring up anything else, Matt? We're right at an hour. Do you want to call it as it is?
I don't. Troy, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about on the gun side?
We could go on for hours. You just want to call it here?
Yeah, we could go on for hours. So we're for sure, Troy, if you want to come back, we're for sure going to bring you back if you want to be back on the show. I enjoyed having you here, and yeah, I guess we'll call it a wrap. I just want to remind everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a patriot and living freedom every day. And I'll let the boys say their goodbyes, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
All right. Go ahead, Troy.
Goodbye.
All right. Just a couple of stories we didn't get to involved ICE and the work they're doing and the pushback that they're receiving. So you guys do some looking. There's a lot that's been going on in Charlotte, North Carolina. 130 criminal illegals were arrested. There was a lot done in Tennessee in conjunction with the National Guard, and there were almost 100 children that were rescued. And this judge has come in and said that, despite all of this, National Guard can't be used because XYZ doesn't have authority. The typical Democrat bullshit. And it's almost where you want to be like, okay, so because you're saying this was illegal, we should just put these 100 children back in the position they were in because you don't agree with it. It's disgusting.
It's all
beyond
about keeping the
infuriating.
illegals here for the midterm elections. That's what it's
It
all
is.
about. Yeah.
It is.
No.
But there's work going on. There's work being done. One of the big things is, I think it was in North Carolina, ICE was doing an operation. There was a civilian that took it upon themselves to use their vehicle as a weapon, and ICE and the local PD, I believe, pursued them, brought them to bear and arrested. But the the word that was on the street in the liberal circles, and Matt makes fun of me all the time for Reddit, but it's awesome for the bullshit, is, ICE involved in irresponsible high-speed chase on congested highways. And it's like, well, wouldn't the person being running from the police be the one responsible for the high-speed chase? But they neglected to mention the whole part about,
that's
them trying to run over officers.
Harassed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. I
I don't know
looking
how
at
you
it.
even stand going on that Reddit bullshit, but
Well, like I said, there's a handful of places that I frequent for a purpose, and then the others just amusement.
Yeah.
But we appreciate everyone. Freedom, and we've got Dan and Cindy. Thank you guys for showing up. Troy, thank you for being on the show. We'll definitely come back. It was a good time had by all. We will see you guys next week, same time, same channel.
Living freedom every day.